Thank you for joining our webinar today. So today we're really excited to kick off a new webinar series with speaker Brian Webb. Brian is an experienced fund controller and a certified public accountant specialized in GAAP, income tax, financial accounting, and financial analysis. In this 4-part series, Brian will walk through tips on how to reduce the time to close your books and the best practice of recording your transactions. Today, Brian will show you how Blue Onion can help you to upload your revenue and expected AR, and if you don't already have a solution. We will also show you how Blue Onion serves as an independent verification for sales for many of our other customers. Lastly, we will show you how Blue Onion can help track your clearing accounts and break out sales by different groupings. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box below. Brian, take the mic.
Thanks, Judy. As Judy mentioned, I'm a CPA myself. I've been here at Blue Onion for a while and focus a lot on making sure that our product meets accountants' needs and is focused toward solving problems efficiently and intuitively. So I'm really excited to kick off this series where we're walking through a month-end process, kind of from the perspective of accounts receivable, because that's really what we do at Blue Onion, is focus on how to get your revenue recorded correctly, how to do that efficiently, and how to do that accurately. And so today we're kicking off a kind of a month-end checklist series. So going through what are the things that you need to do to make sure that your AR is right at the end of a month or throughout the month, however you're doing your closes. And today our focus is going to be on how to get your sales numbers in. Looking forward to kind of walking through this over the next 4 months. Here's our month-end checklist. How do we ensure that our AR is ready to go? Today, we're going to kind of focus on how to record sales entries into our general ledger and some different perspectives on how different people do that. We have over 200 customers that we see a unique perspective into how different people have their different processes going. And so we're going to kind of speak to different ways that we've seen people accomplish this and also how we can help supplement that process and make it more efficient for you. But then we're also going to jump into how do we do some reclassification entries for cancellations or replacement of orders, or maybe some complementary merchandise that you might be offering out to different people. So as we look forward over the next 4 months, we'll get into some fulfillment and revenue recognition, as well as cost of goods sold. We'll book your payment processor fees and show you how we can automate your reconciliation and automate your cash in transit process, both looking back in time and looking forward. And lastly, we'll start to look at some liabilities, figure out how gift cards can be a pain and how we can help make that a little bit easier, and looking at the sales tax remittance process and where we can provide some efficiency there. So looking forward to diving into this over the next couple of months. All right, so how to use sales. Generally, we see three ways that our customers are booking sales. There seems to be some trends on rhymes or reasons about why people might do it one way or the other. But let's kind of talk through those different ways that we're seeing people do this. So first is kind of a monthly or maybe bi-monthly, sometimes weekly entry of summary journal entries or invoices into your GL system. So this would be, you're not so worried about order level data in your GL. You have Shopify or Amazon that you're comfortable going and getting that level of granularity of the source data, or maybe Blue Onion in the future. But you want to make sure that your books are right. So you're booking these summary journal entries in, seeing how those sales are recorded, and then running everything through the process that way. This is a pretty efficient way to do it. You're not doing order level detail where you're having a bunch of reconciliation that's having to happen. You're really looking at this as a summary, and like I said, accessing your detail from a different source. The other way that we see this, and this is generally as people get further along in their maturity and start to get into a need for diligence events, so lending or investment from outside sources, and they need to have more fully fleshed out books to provide as support of their revenue to those people that are lending or investing money in them. And so this is where we'll generally start to see a transition to order level data being put into the GL system, and a need for some sort of auditing to be available to those other parties. And usually what we see there is they have some sort of system that's getting all of these sales into their GL, but they're having a lot of problems with reconciliation and validation of those large sets of data and making sure that it's accurate. So they kind of have a different problem that they're trying to solve. And then the last is cash basis. So this might be someone where D2C, so that's like a D2C retail through Shopify or Amazon, maybe isn't a huge portion of the revenue. They're significantly geared toward wholesale, or they might just be really early on and they have a lot of other things to be focusing on than their general ledger. And so they're just recording their payouts, getting those entries in off of their payout, and attributing that back to sales upon settlement. So that's how we see most of our customers running through that. So now I'm just going to jump over to our application and show you how Blue Onion can help with this. All right, so here's the Blue Onion demo app. This is our overview page where this does do a lot with sales. So here on this first page here, we're already giving you a very straightforward dashboard of your gross sales, discounts, refunds, the shipping and tax and adjustments on all of those things. But where we're really going to focus a lot of our time today is going to be off of the journal entries page. So the journal entries page here shows you the how we can record those summary journal entries. So that's going to be the first perspective we're looking at all of this. Is what we've done in Blue Onion is we've integrated with the order management system directly via API. So that's going to be Shopify, Amazon, or we'll accept CSV uploads of other order systems. Then we are connecting to all your different payment processors. We have over 20 different payment processors that we'll look at here at the end. And then we also connect to your bank. And so we're using that information primarily from the order management system here at the first to record your sales, or in this case, we're going to call that deferred revenue, right? So under ASC 606, we're not really going to call something revenue on our income statement until we've actually fulfilled our obligation out to our customer. We've shipped those goods out to them, and we've made good on our promise to give them merchandise in exchange for cash. So what we usually see, and this is really specifically to Shopify, is you'll run a transaction, you'll get an order in, and you'll actually collect money up front, but you actually owe a piece of merchandise out to your customer. So that's this first entry here. We see deferred revenue, gross revenue of Shopify and Amazon here, broken out by those two different categories. And this is all of your gross revenue for each of those. We're also showing you your shipping revenue for each of those order systems, and then the discounts that would go against those. So any discounts that you've offered against any of that gross sales, as well as the sales tax payable that you're going to owe out to some sort of jurisdiction in the future. So that's the fact that you've run a card, you've collected some sales tax on behalf of that transaction for that customer, and you're going to need to remit that out to Colorado or New York State, whoever the jurisdiction is for that customer in that transaction. The really great thing here is while we are providing you these summary entries, and like we said, you people in this case where you're only recording summary entries monthly or every other week or something like that, you're trusting in another source to maintain the granular data. In Blue Onion, we have all of this for you. We can do historical polls of all of this data and help you rebuild full years of history. And you can just click through any of these numbers and see the full data that's building up every single number within our application. And so here we can see we have our gross sales, we have the discounts, we have the shipping and the tax that we've just reported there. And so we have every single piece. If we scroll down here, we can see that that's the 52,911.04 that we're recording for Shopify sales in this period. So not only can we provide you those summary journal entries to make your life super easy and make this accounting process a breeze, we can also be that repository of data for you so that if you ever need that granular data, we have that stored here. Obviously, we know that there's not just the one side of the sales equation. We also receive refunds. We have customers who might not be totally happy with the product or might be just exchanging it for a different product and sending it back. So we also record you those refunds over that period. So in this case here, we're looking at a month of data. This is completely customizable within our app. You can see, we can look at just the first half of January here, and we'll include only the orders placed in that first half and only the refunds initiated in that first half. Again, that's all click through. We have all of your refund data here. It will show you the status that we've reconciled that out to a payout. So you have a confidence level on every single amount that's included in the numbers. And the really nice thing is that we're actually helping you streamline a lot of your clearing account management as well. So not only do we have the sales side of that, we're recording the liability when you have the purchase, we're recording the expense, the refund expense when you have a refund, but we're also taking the net of all of that activity and summarizing it by your payment processors. So then you can have an expectation of how much money do I expect to get from Shopify for all of my sales in this period. So this would be your kind of initial entry into that clearing account for all the transactions that now is happening in the first half of January. Again, all of this is click through, shows you the full detail of every transaction that's building up your expected cash for Shopify, and shows you a full detail of all of that. In future dates, we'll get to the actual payout of all of this, our whole reconciliation process. Well, you'll see not only this front entry where we're creating the expectation of cash, but also the back end entry of seeing that cash clear out, seeing the fees come in, and being able to actually manage your cash in transit and see views of your cash in transit, even on our page over here, of how to manage, how to see all of that over a given period of time and how that's attributable to different periods within your GL. So it's a really all-inclusive solution to every step within the AR, and that's what we're hoping to show you over the next 4 months, as well as give you a guideline on some of the best practices within this piece. So not only can we provide these summary journal entries to people who are wanting to record them, this is all exportable. You can download this, manipulate it in the way that you need to get it into QuickBooks, NetSuite, Sage Intacct, Xero, whatever your accounting system is. You can import that as a bulk journal entry and get that into your system. But also, there's that download that jumped down there. But also what we can do is provide that verification of information, both at the summary level. So if you just want a gut check of your data for what's feeding into your NetSuite or your Sage Intacct of what you're seeing as order level detail, we can show you summary level. But like I said, all of this was click through. So we can give you line by line detail, and we even have our source data down here. So we're on the orders page. You can see every order placed over that period of January. And we can give you a ton of different cuts of order source here. So you can look at, I just want to see only my Shopify orders. So again, that ties to that 52,911.04 that we see on the front page. Or I just want to see my Amazon seller orders. And you can see that again, ties back to our original detail up on our summary up on front. So all of this is completely customizable on how you want to see this. It's exportable to CSV. So if you want to do comparisons, here we're showing you again a validation of the confidence level of, have we seen this pay out into your bank, and do we actually know where this cash is? So that you have a confidence level in what you're comparing to in our third-party independent verification here. And so that's really kind of the two perspectives of sales here that we see most commonly are, I want to just book these summary journal entries, and can you please automate that for me? And we've got you there. Or I have a process that's feeding my order level detail in here, but it's causing a lot of problems in my NetSuite or my Sage Intacct or whatever your system may be, and I need someone to help me verify this information. We're just now launching an integration with NetSuite where we would pull in all of those reconciliations into our system as well and see all of that. So that's a super exciting change that we're having now, that we're starting to take your GL data and even automate the comparison of your GL and your bank reconciliation within your GL. But the last category of people that we really talked about were how can we help those people who are doing cash basis accounting? So we have several different perspectives we can do that. But two of the more powerful ways we can do that are within our payout summary. So if we go here and look at our payout summary, we have every single payout that you've received into your bank account over this period. You can see every single one reconciled. And what does reconciled mean? That means that we know every single transaction and every single payment event that's included in each of those. So it's completely click through, as most things on our app are, so that you can see the full transparent detail of every single transaction that's included in every single payout from every single payment processor. So here you can see everything reconciled completely. You have a walk of what was my sales amount originally, what were the fees I was charged, and what's the net amount. And here we just have Shopify and Amazon seller showing here. This would be true for any of the 20 or so payment processors that we're now supporting. The other really powerful way, and we'll get into this cash in transit in greater detail when we start talking about the revenue recognition part that we have and the cash reconciliation pieces that we have. But one piece that's we've seen be really powerful for cash basis accounting sales companies is our cash in transit here. So for any given period, so say you actually want to be doing this on a daily basis or a weekly basis, let's just take the first 8 days of January. This cash receipt and settled in bank is going to track every single payout that's happened in your bank and tell you what period it's attributable to. So here we have $6,000 that settled in the first 8 days from Shopify into our bank account. We know that 42, 92, 97 of that is related to transactions that were January transactions. 1,900 of that is actually related to transactions that occurred before this period. And we're just saying here, hey, we've reconciled everything here. We're accounting for everything here. And the really awesome part about this is we actually even break that out into a character of income attribution here for you. So here's that 42, 92, 97 we saw, which are in-period transactions for January items. So here are your January sales from the payouts that have happened in January, the refunds that were included in those payouts from January, other, which is generally going to encapsulate your chargebacks or challenges at the payment processor, and then fees that were included in all of that. But not only do we have that, we also have the out of period stuff that's settled in here. So we're giving you that full pushback of, if I need to know that I have $6,000 that settled in this first 8 days of January, I can give you the sales breakout, the refunds, the fees of every single piece of that, so that you know exactly what's included in every single payout over any given period that you want. Like I said, we can do historical loads of all of this. We can help you rebuild things so that if you are going into a diligence event and you haven't prepared yourself for that, that's no problem. We can help you solve that problem. And so that's really how we help facilitate the sales entry process. That's really the scope of what we're going for in today's webinar, is how do we get sales in? Like I said, in the future, we're going to move into fulfillment. How do we recognize revenue under ASC 606? So we've created that liability, but now we want to see, how do I move that from a liability to revenue on my income statement? Or if I already have a process to do that, how do I validate that? How do I make sure that my revenue is right? So we'll walk through those pieces, as well as our full order to cash reconciliation process of how we validate all of this. You're seeing a piece of it here in the cash in transit, but we have a lot more powerful things that we can do with our app here and facilitate for you through that. So I'm just going to jump back over to our slides here. So we are built for finance and accounting teams. Our CEO, Lindsay Bunting, really built this out of a place of finding it hard to get support in a finance and accounting role, and being able to have IT or software available to you to facilitate these processes. So here are a couple of brands and logos that have trusted us with that. We partner with quite a few fractional accounting or outsourced accounting groups like Full Stack, Fury, Graphite, and Propeller. But we also have some really top of the line e-com customers that use us for their internal accounting teams as well. So we have a lot of people who are really trusting us. And like I said before, we have over 20 different payment processors that we're supporting right now. And here are just a few of them. So all of the big ticket ones, it's pretty rare that we have people come to us who are selling in the US and have Shopify and Amazon, and we're not covering their payment processors. So if that describes you, and these payment processors look familiar, or even if they don't, this isn't the full spectrum, we'd love to hear from you. So yeah, like I said, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love for you to book a consultation and see more about our app, hear more about what we're doing. I am a CPA on our staff. Like I said, our CEO was former VP of Finance at Birchbox. And so there's a lot of depth of knowledge here. So even if it's not interested in our app specifically, but you just want some help with accounting, let us know. We'd love to talk to you. And please just reach out. And here's just a great quote from one of our fractional accountants. It used to take me 15 to 20 hours to do a monthly sync of download and clean all of that and get it done. Now it takes me 15 minutes. So we really see some really high ROI in people investing with their relationship with Blue Onion. And we think that we've created a solution that's really helpful, simple, and intuitive.
Thank you, Brian. We definitely learned a lot through today's webinar, and we will continue the journey in next month, November. So stay tuned for more information.